Now to the Americas tonight, focusing on Haiti and the humanitarian crisis plaguing the country. A New York Times article titled, "As Haiti Unravels, U.S. Officials Push to Send in an Armed Foreign Force," gives an inside look into what is happening on the ground there and now for the push for an international intervention. It comes amid escalating violence in the country, including this attempted assassination of Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry in January. For more on this, I want to bring in the author of that article, New York Times bureau chief for Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean, Natalie Kitroff, and senior fellow military expert for defense priorities, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. Thank you both for joining Top Story tonight. Natalie, I want to start with you. This was your story and your reporting. You traveled with the Haitian National Police to this gang-controlled area of Port-au-Prince. This is an area you report on quite frequently. So I have to ask you, who's in control of Haiti right now? Is it the gangs or is it the government?
Well, much of Haiti's capital, most of it, is in the hands of gangs. Gangs have been around in Haiti for decades, but they've become more brazen and they've gotten more and more powerful. And they have started to take over growing expanses of the capital. And when we traveled with the police, we saw this. We were in an armored vehicle, and the Haitian National Police did not want to leave the vehicle because of the danger outside. That gives you a sense of just how dangerous Haiti is. If armed police officers cannot even step outside, you can imagine what's happening.
And Natalie, on that point, we just saw the image. I'm going to ask my director, Brett, to put it up once again. It shows the military-type tactics these police have to use. But if you look closely at this photo, you can clearly see the officer there. He has all of his tactical gear on, but the window is completely shattered. I don't know if you noticed this while you were reporting, but what it tells me is that there's an arms race, essentially, between these gangs, right, and the government.
That's right. The gangs are very well armed. The police told us that they have their own assault rifles. They have a lot of ammunition. They are armed like militia. And the police in Haiti are struggling to confront them. They're underpaid. They often have worse weapons. And this is, a kind of battle that the police are trying to wage every day. But in many cases, not winning. Right.
Lieutenant Colonel Davis, I want to read you a section of Natalie's reporting here that I think is so important because it really sums up what's happening here. Now fearing that the humanitarian crisis engulfing Haiti could spur mass migration to the U.S. and elsewhere, some top Biden administration officials are pushing to send a multinational armed force to the country. Several current and former officials say after the Haitian government made an appeal for such an intervention last month. But the U.S. doesn't want its own troops included in that force, even though officials fear that the tumult in Haiti will send an even bigger wave of migrants to American shores. So, Lieutenant Colonel, I have to ask you, is this feasible? Is this a feasible ask from the United States, essentially saying we need military intervention in Haiti, but we don't want to go?
Well, I think it's for good reason. And certainly there are some issues that, have the effect of the United States, but it's primarily a humanitarian issue for the United States. But look, we have to look at this in context. The U.S. right now has 100,000 troops in Europe, most of which are around the border with the war between Russia and Ukraine. We've also got tens of thousands in the Middle East, thousands more in South Korea, in Japan, etc. We just can't add another mission like this that could go on for unknown period of time. So I think it's appropriate that we say we can help coordinate and set up, but we just can't do everything. And I think this is one of them that we just can't add right now.
Yeah, but Lieutenant Colonel, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Haiti's on our side of the globe, right? Haitian Americans are a part of American society. There could be an immigration crisis if things continue to get worse in Haiti. People are already fleeing at record numbers. Isn't it time for the U.S. to act?
Well, but I think that we go too quickly to the military card. And if they need it for their security inside there, then I think maybe an international organization is the one. Because, look, we also have to admit the U.S. military has a pretty bad track record in Haiti, and there's a lot of bad blood still to this day in there. So I think that for many reasons, it's appropriate for other members. The United States can't be the only one in the Americas that can bring in military forces.
The Lieutenant Colonel obviously referencing some interventions during the Clinton years there. Natalie, but he brings up a lot of good points, and it is interesting because you bring this up in your story as well in the New York Times, the need for armed forces from other nations. It's actually met with mixed emotions, even from the people of Haiti who do want change, because due to the large-scale recent illnesses caused by UN volunteers back in 2010.
That's right. I mean, Haiti is a country with a long history of brutal intervention from abroad, and bitter memories remain about all of these past attempts to stabilize Haiti that never yielded that long-term stability that they wanted, right? So the U.S. government is aware of this, Haitians are aware of this, and so are other countries. Nobody thinks this is going to be an easy mission. And the challenge is that Haitians on the ground right now are experiencing a suffering that they told me they hadn't seen in their lifetimes. There is a humanitarian crisis underway in the country, and no one right now knows exactly what to do.
Lieutenant Colonel, do you think any other countries would want to act? Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. So you have to ask the question, why would other nations, if the U.S. is not willing to step up, why would other nations try to form some type of military force to go in and try to stabilize that country?
I mean, I think that's a fair question. But right now, I mean, if you're just looking at the hardcore truth, I don't think there's a lot of people that would like to sign up for that, are certainly not going to be eager to do so, because this is a tough military mission, whoever got it. I mean, the question is, what's the militarily achievable mission? How much risk are their troops going to be? And whoever has to go in there, what are the rules of engagement? What's the long term? How much is it going to cost? Those questions, as hard as they are, have to be answered before we start putting anybody's troops on the ground.
Those are all fair points. Natalie, finally, I want to end with you. I want to go back to your reporting. You encountered a lot of regular people who are becoming victims of the gun violence, of the gang violence there, including children. And we have one photo showing two little ones. And this really stood out to me, recovering from gunshot wounds. Talk to us about these kids here and some of the other regular people you came across who are just caught in the crossfire every single day.
So there are thousands of Haitians that have fled violence that are living on the streets right now. And I've talked to many families and many children who were victims of gun violence that are still recovering from their wounds. These two kids captured by our photographer, Adriana Zabrauskas, are examples of that. These are kids who are, as you can see, they still have bandages. One of them has a bag attached to his body. You talk to folks who saw their own family members killed in front of them. And so these are folks that are struggling for survival, and often the children are really bearing the brunt of this.
Natalie Kitroa from the New York Times, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, we thank you for joining Top Story tonight.